Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 26. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. While as Barbadians, we have been focusing a lot on the spike in COVID-19 cases in recent weeks. There are a number of other health concerns, however, that are slipping under the radar. That's why here on the Morning Report, we want to shed some light, yes, on the response to the recent surge in COVID cases, but also on some of the other issues which have the potential to cause severe challenges for the healthcare system and on the health of the nation as a whole. With us this morning, joining us live is Dr. Linda Williams, the president of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, with us here on the Morning Report to talk about these and other issues. Good morning, Linda. Good to have you back.
Good morning. Great to be back, Shane, and important issues to discuss today.
Telling me. Let's first look at what we've been seeing with COVID-19 in recent weeks. For the past few days, 300 plus cases. We've got up to close to 700 cases on one day, and the positivity rate is pretty high as well, around the 30%, and one day it was 35%. What is BAMP's take on this current surge? What are we seeing, and how should we respond as a people?
Well, this was not unexpected. I think people thought that at the beginning of March, when we started to see cases fall, there's always a feeling when we start to see the fall, oh, it's over, it is no more. But the Omicron variant now has subvariants. The BA 2.1.2 and BA2 basically have been even more transmissible than the BA1 Omicron subvariant. And so we knew that when we started to see a surge of these variants in overseas territories, that we would also see it here. Barbadians also travel a lot, and we see a rise in these cases here. And so this that we're seeing now is anticipated, and we hope that it will be leveling off soon, but it's a highly transmissible variant. People saying it's just a cold and so forth, but because of the potential to spread to our older and our unvaccinated population and to cause severe illness among them still, and we're still hearing of people who die, but even more importantly, people who have long COVID or sequelae, what we would call morbidity or illness that comes as a result of having COVID. That's still happening. And that's still happening particularly in elderly and unvaccinated, but in other people as well. So we have these long COVID symptoms that have been affecting people who have had COVID, and they do continue to have the effects after.
And when we look at the present situation right now in terms of timing, we've been seeing this rise in cases, and school hasn't even reopened yet. School is just around the corner next week. What should the approach be as we see the youngsters head back into school, and we've been seeing that spike in the number of children being infected even during this Easter holiday?
Well, we have to keep our children having face-to-face education as much as possible, because they have been deprived of schooling and the structure that comes along with schooling. Some children have done well with the online schools, have fallen by the wayside. So we want to keep schools open in a safe way. That's why the 3-foot distancing continues to be important in schools, and mask wearing, and all of the protocols that have been put in place are very, very important. I think that to be practical and to be safe at the same time, there has to be a balance between those two things. We have to be able to keep children in school but keep them safe, and we beg parents not to send your children to school sick, and to encourage them to wear the masks. There are mask breaks, I understand, for the children during the day, and when they come home, to sanitize before interacting with any elderly members of the family, and if they're even starting to feel sick, then they should also protect the elderly members of the family by perhaps wearing masks at home so that they don't spread the virus. We also want to encourage parents to, when their children start to show symptoms, to have them tested. That's the only way you'll know what's going on in your home, and that's the only way that you'll know if you are able to spread it to your co-workers, your elderly family members, and so forth. So have the children tested as well as yourselves, even if you're slightly symptomatic. I think a lot of people have shied away from having the kids tested, but it's really important as well, even for their health, to know what is happening with them.
We've been seeing close to one death per day in recent days, most of them elderly citizens. In this most recent dashboard, which we will talk about a little later on, a 55-year-old man would have died from the virus. What does this say for the level of spread in the community right now?
I'm not sure that it says much about the level of spread. We have to remember that Omicron is very transmissible. It will spread very readily. The number of deaths, as I said, don't always tell the full picture. So you can't really just say that it's because there's only one or two people dying that it's not really a significant virus. It's still a very significant virus, and we still have to be very careful and cautious with it. Anything that is more transmissible, just because more people are being affected, will affect those who are more vulnerable. So the most vulnerable members of society are more likely to get it. So once you have something more transmissible, then you have more problems as a result of that spread. This is perhaps the most transmissible virus ever. No transmissible than measles and polio and all the other viruses that we've had in the past. So we're breaking new ground with this Omicron subvariant of COVID-19, which is now the.
And I mean, COVID-19 has had so many knock-on effects. One of them has been the impact on those people here in Barbados living with chronic non-communicable diseases. And it's almost like an epidemic in itself. Talk to us about what you've been seeing on the ground recently with people and these NCDs.
So even before COVID-19 came along, Barbados had pretty bad statistics in terms of our diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, stroke, etc. For such a small island, the percentage of our GDP that on health is quite significant. So for such a small island, we're spending a lot on health, we're spending a lot on chronic disease. Along comes COVID-19, and COVID-19 itself contributes to, as I said, morbidity, and also reveals some chronic disease. We'll get people who weren't diabetic, who become diabetic after having COVID, people who have kidney disease post-COVID, and other chronic non-communicable diseases as a result of having COVID, including heart disease, etc. One reason or another did not go out during COVID, so they did not get their regular medical care, they did not keep up with their doctor's visits, they did not fill their prescriptions on time, they tried to stretch them out, they did not exercise, they did not eat healthily as they should, and that has, over the past 2, going on 3 years, significantly impacted the health of our population. So we're seeing a wave of NCDs now, more strokes, more heart attacks, and more cancers, just because people did not go for screening on time or did not check their symptoms when they appeared. So we're seeing a wave of NCDs as a result of that. And that really we really need to get on to addressing that as a medical community. And I know the Ministry of Health is looking at that, because whenever we suspend or we limit some services, then we have to kind of catch back up into access to the services in the polyclinics, etc., that they were accustomed to. So we have this wave of NCDs, and then we have the future effect. So we have children who would have stayed at home, played a lot of video games, not being active. So now we have obesity, particularly rising among children and teens. And because of that future effect now, we're looking at those children now being susceptible to NCDs. The word here about asthma, because for some reason people have gotten the impression that if you have asthma right now because of COVID, they're not going to do anything for you, so I'm not going to go to the hospital. Heard a lot of people trying to do self-management at home, to nebulize, etc. If you have severe wheezing, chest tightness. It's not resolving. You've used your inhalers as you were instructed to do, and you're using your rescue inhaler, your ventilating inhaler, and you're still not improving. You're having that wheezing and chest tightness. Please don't say, I'm not going to seek emergency care because of the fear of getting COVID or the fear of interacting with people who have, or the fear of not being treated. You need to be managed by a medical facility that deals with emergency care for asthma. You need to go and seek medical attention, whether that is an adult or a child. You
Right.
cannot self manage. If you are getting into trouble, you will get into severe trouble. If you have COVID and you have asthma, you should be using both of your inhalers. I cannot stress this enough. So many Barbadians walk around with just a ventilator inhaler when they should have their steroid inhaler, whether it's Pulmicort or Symbicort or whatever their day-to-day inhaler is. They should have that and they should be using it because if you get asthma, if you get and there are lots of other viruses going around right now that can
Yeah.
also trigger your asthmatic symptoms. So there's not just COVID, there's also the regular colds that are going around. So please do not try to self-manage yourself. If you're running into trouble as an asthmatic, you can get severely ill very quickly. And we want people to remember that asthma does cause fatalities, even right here in Barbados.
Dr. Williams, we are out of time, but before you go, I have to get in this question. You mentioned medication and making sure that some of these patients get the medication that they need on time. Are we having any challenges there, possibly with the drug formulary?
No, we don't have challenges with the formulary. What we have challenges sometimes is supplies. So sometimes we are not in full supply of everything at the same time. There have been supply chain problems with everything. I mean, in society, as you see, there have been supply chain issues. And so we have supply chain issues for some of the drugs that we are accustomed to seeing. You know, they're, they're delayed in arrival, and so there may be substitutes. What you shouldn't do is therefore I'm not going to take anything. If you go to the pharmacy, you didn't get something, you should make sure that you call your doctor, or the pharmacist will call the doctor and say, well, we don't have this. What would you like to substitute? There's supply chain issues with some common drugs that are being used. Some of them are being used for COVID. So some of them, it's just because the supply chains have been interrupted in other parts of the world. We've got war, we've got outbreaks in other parts of the world that have limited the ability for us to get medications that we're accustomed to on time. As with everything else, we're starting to
Yeah.
see those supply chain problems.
Yeah, so many things flying under the radar outside of COVID-19 that needs to be addressed as far as health are concerned. But we really thank you for spending some time with us this morning and shedding some light on these issues. Dr. Williams, it's always good seeing you. Don't be a stranger. Until next time, stay safe.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Appreciate your time. Dr. Linda Williams is the president of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, exclusively here on the Morning Report. We'll take a break here. We have some COVID-19 updates coming your way, and a U.S. envoy pledges further support for Ukraine in its war with Russia. 323 new COVID-19 cases. That's what Barbados registered yesterday, and those numbers were made up of 151 males and 172 females from 1,092 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory on Sunday. Of those new cases, 260 people were 18 years or older. There were 89 people in isolation facilities, while 3,136 people were in home isolation. Meanwhile, in some sad related news, an unvaccinated 55-year-old man died from the viral illness yesterday. Nursing homes in Barbados have been hard hit by the COVID-19 virus in the current BA2 surge. This was revealed by the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kenneth George, the Most Honorable Kenneth George, in an exclusive interview with CBC News. Here's what he had to say about the situation.
We are still at this point in time getting nursing home involvement. And without naming the nursing home, we are actively looking at a couple because these are where our vulnerable populations are at. Fortunately, with respect to the nursing homes, most of those persons have been vaccinated.
And the Chief Medical Officer says the definition of fully vaccinated will change.
We will move to a stage where boosters will be required to be called fully vaccinated. And as the public is aware, Barbados, when I was on leave, took the important step to introduce the second booster vaccine for persons over the age of 50. So I think the layers of protection, even down to vaccines, the more times you're vaccinated, obviously you get more protection.
Let's focus now on the war in Ukraine. Russia has warned the United States against sending more weapons to Ukraine, saying the delivery of arms is pouring oil on the flames. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin have visited Ukraine's capital Kyiv and met the President Volodymyr Zelensky, the first visit by a U.S. official or U.S. official since the war began back on February 24th. They pledged a new assistance worth $713 million US dollars for Zelensky's government and other countries in the region.
A show of support in a time of war. The US Secretaries of State and Defense in the Ukrainian capital to meet President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Nice to see you here.
This was the first high-level visit by US officials since Russian forces invaded.
What you've done in repelling the Russians in the Battle of Kyiv was extraordinary and inspiring, quite frankly, to the rest of the world.
We've gotten used to seeing you on video around the world, but it's good to see you in person.
During a 3-hour meeting, the pair promised to step up US military aid, including sending more advanced weapons.
We will continue to do everything possible to ensure that you're successful.
Ukraine's president has accused allies of being too slow to help, saying they shared responsibility for the war's casualties. But on Sunday he said he was grateful for US support in what he called an important moment for his country.
The priority of this meeting is weaponry, support from the United States and our partners in Europe. It's all about the strength of our army. And the second issue is the sanctions against the Russian Federation because of the full-scale terror the Russians are waging in our country.
So that's what's happening in Ukraine. Time to come back here at home to beautiful Barbados to see what's happening on today's edition of Morning Barbados. And we have a special, I got to call him a guest because he hasn't been here in quite a while. Welcome back, Pearson. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you for asking. And yes, I do feel like a guest, but thank you so much, Shane. You know, in your conversation with Dr. Williams just a while ago, she mentioned childhood obesity.
Yes, she did.
Well, we'll take a look at that as well with our pediatrician today. What are the causes of childhood obesity? What are some of the conditions as a consequence? And how can we prevent childhood obesity? One of the subjects we'll touch on in Morning Barbados at 6:30. We'll also today be asking the question, HIV/AIDS, is it still relevant? That's not my question. That's a question being posed by the University of the West Indies at Mona. And so just ahead of a webinar they're having tomorrow, they'll join us to talk about that and some behavioral changes as well. And just as we're on the cusp of all of this, we're also talking about generational wealth and how do we create that. And there's an agency here in Barbados that creates the conditions for that to happen. They're having a big event on the weekend. We'll tell you about that and a whole lot more when you join me at 6:30 for Morning Barbados. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. Well, we're hearing about thousands of jobs coming in the cruise tourism sector. Details to this story and more up next on the other side of this break here on the Morning Report. A new tourism venture will see Barbados and a leading cruise line in partnership, and it will create about 1,000 jobs for locals, and that's just the beginning. Royal Caribbean Chief Executive Officer Michael Bailey and Tourism Minister Senator Lisa Cummins, along with other tourism executives, were in Miami yesterday at Sea Trade Cruise Global. They signed a memorandum of cooperation which provides employment opportunities on cruise ships for Barbadians. Royal CEO says they boasted a crew population of about 50,000 worldwide, with around 10,000 added each year as they launch 2 to 3 new ships. Chairperson of the BTPA, Shelley Williams, says the agreement will unlock lots of opportunities for Barbadians.
When we got together and had this discussion, yes, traditionally we would have discussions about getting more tourists or getting more ports of call or things of that nature. But the new tourism authority and the new BTMI, and under a mandate of our minister, is to also talk about opportunity for our people.
And Senator Cummins, who signed the agreement, says there was a vacancy for a cruise director. The business of cruise operation will be based in Barbados once the director is chosen, but until then operations will be over in Miami. She says the job categories are broad.
We will have the new director of cruise recruited, and they will be based here in Miami. But what I would say as well is that we are collaborating on this jointly with the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. and the Barbados Port Inc. as well, because there must be that collaboration around how we attract ships in terms of the marketing and how we facilitate ships in terms of ships actually arriving and a ship's call. And so that partnership is meant to evolve during the course of this month. We're expecting by late summer we should have that fully operationalized, and that by the time the winter season rolls around, our full operation out of Miami will be up and running.
Billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk has agreed to buy Twitter Incorporated for $44 billion, using one of the biggest leveraged buyout deals in history to take private a 16-year-old social networking platform that has become a hub of public discourse.
Earlier, shares being traded in the company were halted amid reports Musk's bid to buy the social media giant would be successful. The sale raises questions as to how the billionaire will reform the social media giant. Musk has previously said he wants to unlock Twitter's extraordinary potential and make it a platform for free speech around the world. Earlier on Monday, Musk tweeted that he hopes even his worst critics remain on the platform because, quote, that's what free speech is all about. Well, Gabriel Elizondo is live for us in New York. Gabe, it was only a couple of weeks ago we were talking about this. Speculation has been growing for some time, and now it looks as if Musk has actually gone ahead with it. What more do you know?
Well, we're just getting this info in right now, as you so correctly mentioned, Twitter confirming that they have decided to sell the company to Elon Musk, a deal that they say is valued at about $44 billion. That's billion with a B. They're saying that about $25.5 billion is financing, basically a loan that Musk is getting from a bank, and then another $21 billion in equity that Musk is putting up. Bottom line, though, this is $44 billion. Stock price at per share $54.20, exactly what Musk offered a little over a week ago. And this looks like the world's richest man is now one step closer, assuming this gets approved and gets finalized. And there's no certainty to that yet, but it's looking very good at this point.
In sporting news now, Dane Skeet and co-driver Tyler Mayhew are the winners of the Barbados Rally Club's Shakedown doubleheader sprint event. It was the club's first event since 2020 and was contested on a course from Malvern to Wilson Hill in St. John. Damien Best reports on some of the runs.
Was first in a modified 2. Logan Watson was the highest placed BMW on the day, a winner of modified 3. To his credit, he was even faster than the R5 of Paul Horton. Now this guy always finishes an event. Edward Corbin, victorious in modified 1 in his Daihatsu Charmant. Not a scratch on the paint job. The Ninja Hill, Skoda Fabia R5, Mr. Consistent, 8th overall. 7th was another machine in the FIA R5 group, Mark Maloney. His time, 2 minutes, 08.39 seconds. Incoming giant killer, Roger his hotness mirrors in the Toyota WR Starlet. Pace like fire in Super Modified 2, 6th overall, 2 minutes, 08.22 seconds. Results in round 1, winning Super Modified 2 in his well-prepared Ford Fiesta, 4th overall in 2 minutes, 07.75 seconds. The highest placed overseas driver, Jamaican Jeffrey Panton, 2nd in the FIA R5 group in the Ford Fiesta Rally 2, and 3rd overall in 2 minutes, 06.49 seconds. The Skoda Fabia Rally 2 Evo, piloted by Stuart Maloney, over 3 seconds faster than Panton, winning the R5 group and 2nd overall. Should be very sharp for RB22. His time, 2 minutes, 03.83 seconds. Top of the charts, and the number 1 seed coming in, Dane Skeet in the Subaru Impreza WRC, barely edging out Stewart with a best time of 2 minutes, 03.71 seconds on his 3rd and final run before the reversal. Barbados Rally Club action complete.
And that's all the time we have for news this morning. We do apologize for the absence of weather, but I can tell you that that flood warning that was in effect, it remains in effect according to the cap.cap app. So we will continue to update you on the weather situation as the day progresses, but things have cleared up significantly on the outside. And that's it for this edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Up next is Pearson Bowen with Mornin Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Well, hi there and good morning to you indeed. Welcome to today, Tuesday, the 26th of April, 2022. I am Pearson Bowen, welcoming all of you everywhere To Morning Barbados, as I say, good morning today indeed, the day after the rain, but it's also the first day of school. I feel myself like a back-to-school child, heading back out to school for the very first time. So to all of you heading out to school today, I hear your collective groan, but you know what? It's going to be great. You'll meet your friends yet again, but most of all, I want you to be careful. You know what to do, right? Right? Good. Continue wearing your masks, using your hand sanitizer, and keeping your distance where possible. So have a great today as you head out to school. So to those little ones and the teachers as well, make the best of the moment. Today is also World Intellectual Property Day under the theme IP and Youth Innovate for a Better Future. Aren't they so lucky today, World Intellectual Property Day? Why? Because they're encouraging young people today to explore the innovative, energetic, and creative spaces of their minds today, because they're trying to develop a more sustainable and respectful community, country, and world. And so we encourage all of you younger ones today to use intellectual property to benefit of all, not just yourself, but the benefit of all in a very responsible way as well on this World IP and Youth Day. I don't want to go much further without recognizing the colleagues with whom I spent so many weeks, as I was also on jury duty. And while there, I met so many interesting people, so many of them. Cheryl, who I sat next to every day. There's also Cheryl and Dario. Mario, there's Margaret, Benita, Felicia, Onita, Valley. See, I'm calling them by first name as though they're all my friends. Angelina with the eyelashes, the brooms. That's what I used to call her. Rodney, all the crew, DeAndrea, all of you. Good morning. It was really wonderful meeting all of you. Margaret, Alicia. Good morning indeed. I hope all of you have a really good session, those of you who've opted to continue. And if ever given the opportunity to be summoned for jury duty, do not deny yourself that chance. It really truly is a great opportunity to see the workings of our legal system. But a very special good morning to Charmaine, who is the clerk of Supreme Court number 3, for which I was assigned, and Larry, who is also the marshal there. Good morning, both of you as well. Thank you for your care and concern throughout the weeks that we were there. Now this morning, today, Thornwood will be joining us in our exercise session. We want to look at that morning mobility. When you wake up, you should stretch. How you get the body active and ready and fit for purpose for the day. Also looking at training with pain and the importance of warming up. Thorn will join us to talk about that before we are done today. Our girl agent Shirita will join us today as well with her bright smile. We want to look at some of those things that perhaps the person who's selling your property did not tell you about. She's going to warn you about that. Don't miss that opportunity as well. Plus, a chance for you younger ones today to spell it. You get a chance to win with Pediasure if you correctly spell it. I promise I'm going to be kind to you. I'll give you a word that is easy, weasy, Japanesey. So look out for that. But before my breath is all gone, Wendy Burke, thank you for stepping up to the plate and sitting in for me. Thank you so much. You've done a marvelous job. Looking forward to vacating the seat yet again soon for you to come and sit and enjoy the company of the people of Barbados and the world. So everywhere, everyone, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's turn our attention now to the work of the Barbados Development Trust, the Barbados Trust Fund Limited. We're happy to be joined this morning by the Business Development Officer, Jericia Durant. Along with her is the business consultant in the Reverend Reginald Knight, Pearson Tongue Twister. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, they had to put 2 R's before your name, Mr. Knight. Reverend Reginald. Twist it out. But good having both of you. As the song says, you've made it through the rain, and so we can see the sun rising now, all into anticipation of the big event on Saturday. But I want to start with you, Jericia. Let's talk a little bit about the Barbados Trust Fund. For whom is it designed?
The Barbados Trust Fund is designed for anyone, basically small business owners, entrepreneurs, who just want that little injection of funding to get the business going or even to keep the business going forward. We fund up to $5,000 in financing, and entrepreneurs just have to come in, submit the required documentation, and get the process started with an interview and some basic training.
Is it if I have a new idea or if I have an existing idea that I can benefit?
Both. You can have a new idea, or you can have a business that's ongoing already and you just want to keep it going, or do something new and advance it and take it to the next level.
So then how easy is the process? Because the last thing I want is that I come to you and I feel as though I'm pulling blood just to be able to get assistance. So how easy is that process for application?
It is very easy. You have to bring in a few documentation, ID, proof of address, passport size photo, your business registration, if it is registered already, and then your invoices or the receipts for the stuff that you want to get.
If it is not yet already registered, is that a bad mark against my name and my opportunity?
No, please. So if the business is not registered, when you come in for that interview, you just state that on our registration form, and we fund the process. We take the money over to Kaipo to get the business registered for you.
Oh, so you help me with that?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's great. So anyone, anywhere who has an idea, an opportunity that they're already working on and they need the assistance through the Barbados Trust Fund, they can apply. And having started the application process, how soon thereafter would I be able to receive some kind of response or assistance?
Well, our project process usually takes between 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how many applications we have coming in at the moment.
Mm-hmm. What does acceptance mean? What other benefits do I get by receiving the funding from you? Are you working along with me? Is there a mentorship program? How does it all work?
Yeah, so I am one of the business development officers at the Barbados Trust Fund Limited. So along with receiving that funding, you receive training and someone to hold your hand if necessary. Where I come in, we work with you, we try to find opportunities for you to make money for export, for just overall business development. I just walk you through that process. You might need packaging, labels, whatever a business may need, logos. You might need shirts, tablecloth for events and activities. You might want to export a product. We point you in those directions.
Reverend Knight, you know, sometimes we sit at home and we know what we're doing is making a difference. We know that it can impact the community and it has potential, but we get shy. You know, it is of this particular hue. We get shy and we don't want to step forward. As a consultant, what advice would you give to Barbadians today who are already sitting on literally their gold mine, their opportunity for generational wealth, who have not yet taken the plunge?
Well, pretty much Jaricia has said quite a bit just now with respect to what can be done. And the truth is, this is all part of what the Barbados Trust Fund Limited is about. Those persons who are in the community who have not had the opportunity, or who, just as you said, Pearson, who are probably just shy and don't want to step out and get involved. This is an opportunity through the Barbados Trust Fund Limited and certainly the initiatives which we have in place to help persons to get out there, to give them that energy. And so when we do things within the community, we do so with the hope that those persons who are in the shadows, who may not be bold enough to step out, that they will then see this as an opportunity to come forward, be part of all that is happening in Barbados, in the community, as far as small business is concerned, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. And so I would encourage anyone to take opportunity of this, take advantage of this opportunity and step out and be part of what we are doing right now in the community. There's so much out there in the community that we have as an institution that we have planned for the community, and therefore we would want persons to, look and take special attention, pay special attention to what we're doing and get involved.
Indeed. I mean, at the bottom of the screen, folks, if you pay close attention too, we're sharing with you some information as to how you can contact the Barbados Trust Loan Fund and be a part of it. You really need to pay attention. So note it all and then come on Saturday, because Trust Affair Bazaar, let's talk about that. This big event on Saturday on the grounds of St. James Parish Church. What's happening there and for who is it?
Trust first. I'll start with your last question. It's for everyone. It's for, if you are involved in small business and you are desirous of getting your product out there and showcasing your product and letting people know, again, coming out of the shadows of shyness, you come out there and you just show persons what you're doing. Be part of this event that allows you to really shine and get an opportunity to showcase your product. The whole idea is for us also to help to promote and re-energize our businesses, or for those clients who may have been affected by COVID-19, you can appreciate that there has really been a slowdown in things that have been happening where businesses are concerned. And a lot of persons have been impacted by this, and we have seen those persons continue to, they continue to struggle, so to speak, to get back there. And this is all part of helping to re-energize and to get the communities up and running again. And of course, communities have an opportunity to see who in their communities are doing what, and you can actually do business with some. Who knows, your next door neighbor may be doing agriculture.
Yes.
You can actually be part of that, assisting your neighbor, and you purchase your vegetables from your neighbor. And
Yes.
so there's a lot. This activity really is going to help to showcase what is really going on out there in Barbados in the community, and I would encourage persons to get involved with this as well.
Indeed so. I saw the words free, the letters free, FR33, right there at the bottom of the flyer. If we could share that again with folks. It's Trust Affairs and Bazaars this Saturday from 9 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon with free samples. There will be fruit wines, jewelry, express makeovers. Look at the screen, everybody. And haircuts from the Frederick Smith students. They'll be there as well. It's right there at St. James Parish Church on the grounds this Saturday from 9 till 4. A Trust Affair and Bazaar, and it really is open. This is where, Jerisa, the whole question of assistance in terms of marketing of your clients also plays in, because there's so much you do to assist them in getting their business known to the community.
Yes, we do. So for a lot of our clients that we have at the fair, they were lacking a bit in the marketing, especially branding area. So we provided them with, the opportunity first to showcase the product at the market, to, get some revenue coming in, as well as working a lot with their labeling, their packaging, their branding, logos, shirts, tablecloths, everything, just getting them ready for any event or activity that they may have going on.
This was exciting indeed. I see smiles on the faces who are there. The businesses are already there from images from past. So it tells us it's going to be quite an affair. It's Trust Affair and Bazaar this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the grounds of the St. James Parish Church in St. James, starting at 9 in the morning until 4. And this is just one, Jerisa, of the many activities that the Trust Fund is doing as you bring awareness, greater awareness as to how we can create generational wealth.
Yes, please. So we will also be at AgriFest as one of the main events in Barbados. We will put up a tent or have a space there for our clients to showcase their products. We are also in Jordan's supermarket every first and last Saturday of each month, and our wine cluster get the opportunity to showcase their products made, here locally in Barbados, and have that opportunity to get their products on the shelf. We also do the Holders Farmers Market every first and last Sunday of each month, and clients from all different sectors, manufacturing, sales, retail, all clients just come out to showcase their products and just get their name and brand out there.
This sounds so exciting. It's such an exciting time to be an entrepreneur. It really is truly the right time to be an entrepreneur. So folks, if you want to take benefit of the assistance, whether monetary and otherwise, for the Barbados Trust Fund Limited, how can we contact you, Jerisa?
Yes, so you can contact us at 228-3275 for any business development officer, any loan officer. That is our contact line. And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and just keep up to date with all the activities we have going on. We have our talk show, Let's Talk Entrepreneurship, where entrepreneurs can tune in and hear all about entrepreneurship, touch on some topics that we have, that entrepreneurs go through every day: marketing, finance issues, management issues, and figure out, am I on the right track? What can I learn? What can I benefit from our talk show? We have that coming up Tuesday, not today, next Tuesday.
Yes.
And just tune in. Our last segment is on marketing, which is very important. And just trying to get the feel of what entrepreneurs feel about, traditional marketing versus our current marketing, where everything is digital, social media, and, which one they prefer in today's new era.
Well, it's going to be a great time indeed. Perfect time for everyone to be a part of the Barbados Trust Fund Limited. Remember, all the contact details are at the bottom of your screen, so check it out and give them a call today. Let one of the business development officers work with you so that as an entrepreneur, you create the generational wealth that I've been talking about, where you can pass it on to the next generation and the next. But most of all, come to this big fair this Saturday from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon on the grounds of St. James Parish Church Trust Affair and Bazaar. There'll be free samples, fruit wines, jewelry, express makeovers, haircuts from the students of the Frederick Smith Secondary School. But you get also to interact with the officers of the Barbados Trust Fund Limited, interact with other entrepreneurs to hear their story and their journey and be inspired yourself to make the next step. As Reverend Knight would say, come out of the shadows into the light. Take that chance and leap into the future. Right, Reverend Knight?
Kirsten, I also want to encourage persons to understand that we are inclusive in all of this. There are activities which we'll be having as well, such as lucky dips, sack races, egg and spoon races. It's a family affair, and therefore is to feel that family feeling when they come to St. James Parish Church for this Trust Affair Bazaar event.
It is going to be spectacular indeed. Thank you both. Thank you so very much, and much success with the efforts going forward. Thank you, Reverend Reginald Knight and Jericia Durant of the Barbados Trust Fund Limited. Don't forget, folks, the event is this Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning, St. James Parish Church grounds in St. James. You cannot miss it. It's on the West Coast, right there by Folkestone, in other words. But go out and support the efforts of our entrepreneurs. We will take that break right here, and we're coming back with more this morning on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 12 minutes to go to the hour of 7 o'clock. Let me say a very special good morning to Sonia Bowen, who's watching us in Nevis. Good morning, Sonia. She says, blessed by eyesight this morning. Thank you, Sonia. Also, good morning to my friend Jasmine, who's also watching from Nevis as well. And for those of you on our Facebook streams, thank you so much for joining us as always. Now, in teasing this morning, I asked you the question, HIV/AIDS, is it still relevant? That's a question that is on the table for discussion now, as we invite to share with us this morning Tamar Heron, who is the co-chair of the UWI Mona Library in Jamaica. Good morning to her, Tamar. And also with him is Cecilia Neblett-Brathwaite, the president of the Caribbean Association of Behavior Change Practitioners. Good morning, both.
Good morning and welcome back.
Thank you so much indeed. And Tamar, welcome to Barbados. Let Barbados see who you are. That's good. Now, this question, HIV/AIDS, is it still relevant? Why that question now, Tamar?
All right, that question came up because I personally believe that it is still relevant. But when I look at the statistics, it shows that there is a rise in the HIV/AIDS cases across the Caribbean. So the UWI Mona Library sought to the professional to explain this to us. So that's how we came up with the topic.
You've been looking at statistics, you said, and you saw there has been a rise in spite of the fact we've not been hearing about this. But why did you begin to look at that specifically at all? Because like other people, you could have just simply moved on and said, oh, well, we pretty much got that managed. Let's move on. But why the focus on HIV/AIDS?
Right, because of the HIV/AIDS, right, there's still an epidemic in the Caribbean, and it's still a disease that is of concern, and the high stigmatism that comes with it. So, we want to raise the awareness of HIV and also to make persons know that this is still a disease around of great concern.
With that rising of the incidence of HIV still, obviously it brings the whole question of behavior. I know, Cecilia, this is something about which you're very passionate, because sometimes the choices we make cause ourselves to numb our emotions to what's the possibility. So let's talk about, from your perspective, Cecilia, what it is that you would want for us to be able to engage with tomorrow in the webinar as it relates to behavior and behavior change.
Well, Pearson, I looked at it from a broader perspective. I look at it because it's a multiplicity of factors that contribute to this. We have the COVID-19 taking away some of the resources that we would usually utilize to deal with HIV and AIDS. We have the climate crisis, we have unemployment, underemployment, we have the Ukraine war, and all of these are factors that would directly or indirectly take some of the focus from HIV. So we sought to bring about this webinar so that we can inform, because we also recognize that, there's some lapses in research, there's some gaps in research. So now we have to look at HIV with the broad spectrum, recognizing that COVID-19 plays a part in it as well.
So I'm trying to get the link, because you're saying to me, given all of the other social concerns we have, sometimes we are forced to make decisions that we otherwise would not have made. And we find ourselves then with the outcome of perhaps contracting HIV. Is that what you're suggesting as the link I could get from what you've said?
I'm looking at it from a macro and a micro perspective.
Mm-hmm.
When we speak to COVID-19, recognize that some of the resources, some of the health resources were taken away to focus on COVID-19. Crime is on the rise because, you have unemployment and underemployment. You're looking at all of these are issues, economic issues, or social services are overwhelmed. So these are issues that would usually focus we would usually focus our resources on HIV. Now we have to share our resources with some of these areas. So that is why it is relevant to bring about this information, bring about this webinar, so that we can target these issues and so that we can play a greater part in informing the public about their role in this fight.
Tamara, is that also your focus by this webinar tomorrow?
No, there's and in addition to the HIV, the COVID-19, but we have to remember that because of the lockdown, most persons would have been spending time at home. And so the chances of catching HIV would have increased due to the lockdown. The other reasoning is because we are not aware, most persons are not aware that you can catch HIV or AIDS quite easily, even if you have one partner, right? It's as simple as having a burst condom and or having your partner who's not faithful coming in to give you HIV. So when we look at it from that perspective, we thought that it is very important to raise the awareness of HIV and AIDS.
Does it feel as though a cycle has come all around again, where to almost start from the beginning in sensitizing the people yet again to the reality of HIV/AIDS?
Yes, it does. It does. But it has always been an ongoing battle to make sure that we continue to educate. And I think we can only win this battle through education. And we have start to make sure that we do that. So even though it seems like it's going around in a circle, but it's something that we cannot give up and we cannot let up on the fight, because we have to win and we have to get control of HIV and AIDS.
Cecilia is saying that, we're challenged, societies are challenged by the allocation of resources because now that COVID-19 has arisen, focus has shifted to that because it was really affecting quite a number of people and that HIV has been subsumed by that. Is that also your reality in Jamaica?
To an extent. And a doctor earlier to us spoke about that. COVID-19 has been actually caused persons to shift focus. And remember, persons were not able to get access to their HIV medications. So I would agree with that to one extent. And so it is very important for persons to know their status, get tested. And here in Jamaica, we're even pushing for self-testing to get done because we have to win this fight against HIV/AIDS.
Sharing the stage tomorrow in the webinar with Cecilia is Dr. Alicia Robb Allen. Could you tell us a little bit about her?
Director for our Ministry of Health, and she's also in the office of the STI, HIV, and TB section of the HIV/AIDS section. So she will be sharing with us, and it doesn't get any better than having these two wonderful presenters to share with us.
It's a webinar, so therefore, Cecilia, we have to be engaged. It's not a case of it's a lecture where you're going to talk to me. I just shut my mouth and say thank you at the end of it all. So what do you want when we sign up to be a part of this event tomorrow? What would you want the audience to be able to do so that they can maximize the benefits from this engagement?
I would like the audience to come with an open mind, bring their questions so they can ask the doctor and myself. I guess she'll be dealing with the medical side, I'll be dealing with the social side. But what I want to do too is talk about the 50 and over population. You have your Q in the community is going to be starting soon, I think this week. So I want persons to recognize the intergenerational sex that HIV touches all spectrums, the 50 and over population as well. All these are issues that we want to bring to the fore so that we can have a robust and interesting discussion surrounding this topic. And I'm really, really happy to be involved and including my mates, my comrades in Jamaica. I'm really happy that we can come together as two CARICOM countries, two CARICOM nations, and work together towards this fight.
So really, it's a webinar open to everyone of every age and both sexes. It's important that men and women be a part of this and engage with it. So how can we, on what platform, can we be a part of the webinar? Who's going to tell me about that?
I'll let Mr. Heron speak to that.
Okay. So you can, it's open to everyone, and you can join. We ask for you to register ahead of time, and you can do so at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/LHEWCO. Right, so that's bit.ly at Luco, or you can contact us using our email address, which is lucamonalibrary@gmail.com. Right? And it is open, as we said before, for everyone. And additionally, the webinar will also be uploaded to the library's YouTube channel for persons to gain access to thereafter.
And as with everything else, this one too is free, folks. This is information. This is not someone mining you for anything. This is information being shared, information being gleaned as well by the audience. So be a part of it. You can we'll post this poster here that you can see on your screen right now as the Mornin Library and the Wellness Committee. How do you pronounce this one, Timar?
Luco. So the H is silent.
I got you. Luco presents HIV/AIDS is still relevant. It's a webinar with speakers Dr. Alicia Robb Allen and Mrs. Cecilia Neblett Brathwaite. It's tomorrow from 11 o'clock Barbados time, and you can register at that link you see right there. We'll post this on all social media platforms so that you can see for yourself and you can think. But it's important to register early and in advance, because once the webinar has started, you don't want to be so caught up trying to admit people in. So as much as possible, you can register as soon as possible, because sometimes space is relatively limited. And though it's online, it can still become a bit of a problem because you want to control bandwidth. So as soon as possible, do sign up and be a part of it tomorrow. Starts at 11 Barbados time online. Cecilia, you wanted to say something just now.
I just want to say thanks to CBC for partnering in this fight against HIV and AIDS.
Thank you very much. And Tamar, we wish you only the very best as well in this effort and your continued research into the question, HIV/AIDS, is it still relevant? We say yes, it is still relevant, and we have to raise greater awareness, but also to agitate further so that governments not lose sight and continue to lend support to the response to HIV/AIDS. And as a community, we all begin to practice more responsibility, greater responsibility for our actions and our choices. It's not just left to government to control us. We have to control ourselves. Thanks both of you, and I wish you all the best with this event tomorrow. You're very welcome. It's 7 o'clock. We'll take a break right here, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time for us to take another look at the news now. Once again, here is Shane Seeley. Shane? Will Shane be with us in just a moment? Here he is.
I'm here. Thank you, Pearson. Here's your 7 a.m. headline news looking at what is happening this morning despite the current surge in COVID-19 cases linked to the highly contagious Omicron subvariant BA2. The Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners is supporting the safe return of students to face-to-face instruction. Giving her take on the situation as school resumes this morning, the BAMP president, Dr. Linda Williams, is confident that once protocols are followed, children and teachers will be relatively safe. She, however, says it's critical that if a child or teacher is showing symptoms, they stay away from school and get tested for COVID.
We want to keep schools open in a safe way. That's why the 3-foot distancing continues to be important in schools, and mask wearing and all of the protocols that have been put in place are very, very important. I think that to be practical and to be safe at the same time, there has to be a balance between those two things. We have to be able to keep children in school but keep them safe, and we beg parents not to send your children to school sick, and to encourage them to wear the mask. There are mask breaks, I understand, for the children during the day, and when they come home, to sanitize before interacting with any elderly members of the family, and if they're even starting to feel sick, then they should also protect the elderly members of the family by perhaps wearing masks at home so that they don't spread the virus.
Dr. Williams is meanwhile alarmed at the number of people presenting with chronic non-communicable diseases. She's calling for an urgent response from the medical fraternity and the Ministry of Health.
So we're seeing a wave of NCDs now, more strokes, more heart attacks, and more cancers, just because people did not go for screening on time or did not check their symptoms when they appeared. So we're seeing a wave of NCDs as a result of that. And that really we really need to get on to addressing that as a medical community. And I know the Ministry of Health is looking at that, because whenever we suspend or we limit some services, then we have to kind of catch back up into access to the services in the polyclinics, etc., that they were accustomed to. So we have this wave of NCDs, and then we have the future effect. So we have children who would have stayed at home, played a lot of video games, not being active. So now we have obesity, particularly
Indeed.
rising among children and teens.
Nursing homes in Barbados have been hit by the COVID-19 virus in the current BA2 surge. This has been revealed by the Chief Medical Officer, the Most Honorable Dr. Kenneth George, in an exclusive interview with CBC News.
We are still at this point in time getting nursing home involvement. And without naming the nursing home, we are actively looking at a couple, because these are where our vulnerable populations are at. Fortunately, with respect to the nursing homes, most of those persons have been vaccinated.
Barbados, meanwhile, has recorded 323 new COVID-19 cases. Those numbers were made up of 151 males and 172 females from 1,092 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory on Sunday. Of the new cases, 260 people were 18 years or older. There were 89 people in isolation facilities, while 3,136 people were in home isolation. And in some sad related news, an unvaccinated 55-year-old man passed away from the viral illness yesterday. A flood warning remains in effect for Barbados. This alert, valid from 6 this morning, will be updated at noon or sooner if conditions warrant. According to the Barbados Meteorological Services, a trough system continues to affect Barbados, generating periods of rain and moderate to heavy showers. Over the past 24 hours, observations showed between 2 to 5 inches of rainfall across the island. Although rainfall decreased overnight, Met officials say conditions are expected to deteriorate throughout the day, especially this morning as children get back into school, and further accumulations of 25 to 75 millimeters are expected with isolated higher amounts. These unstable conditions are expected to persist across the island over the next few days. We'll keep you updated right here in our news. And that's it for our headline news for this morning. I'm Shane Seeley. It's back over to you, Pearson.
Thank you, Shane. I'm not complaining for the news. I hope you at home are not complaining either, because we've had dry days for a long time. Let the rains come. It's the balance that we're talking about. Thanks, Shane. Shane will be back for more news right here on TV8 at 12 noon. We'll take a break here. When we come out, little ones, time for you to spell it. Look out for that chance to win with Pediasure right after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's time for Spell It with Pediasure. Are you going to spell it in 30 seconds?
That's the question. Are you going to spell it within 30 seconds? Time for you little ones to give me a call on 228-5562 or 228-5563. You get a chance to spell it, and if you spell it correctly, you get a chance to win with Pediasure. Pediasure, I'm sure you've seen it in the supermarket many times over. There's the vanilla, the strawberry, the chocolate flavors. It is really quite a great, clinically proven, great nutrition replacement for the children, serving up complete balanced nutrition every day for their little bodies. So let's see if you can call me now on 228-5562. 228-5563. I'd like to know your first name, your age. I'll give you an easy word to spell. I promise you, very easy word for you to spell. You'll get it right, and when you do, you win with Pediasure, of course. Big thanks to them. It comes in a tasty range of really delicious flavors. As I said, vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, and it's a meal in a little bottle, really good for building up bones, brain and eye health, immune support. A lot you can get from Pediasure. So 228-5562 or 228-5563, little ones, give me a call and let's see how we do this. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, could you speak as loudly as you possibly can? What's your first name?
Shania.
Help me?
Shania.
Shania. Good morning, Shania. How old are you?
8 years old.
All right, Shania. 8. You are as old as my godsons. So what school do you go to?
Christchurch Girls' School.
Where is that?
In Water Street.
Absolutely right. What color is your uniform?
Green and white.
Green and white. Fantastic. Are you really good at spelling?
Yes, please.
Oh, who told you that? Who told you that you're really good at spelling?
Pardon me?
Who told you that you are really good at spelling? You're laughing? Your teacher said that?
I just said that because I'm good at it.
That's all right. Are you ready? I have a question for you. I hope you can handle this word. Your word today is faithful. Faithful. Can you spell that? Faithful. Faithful. Faithful.
Okay. F-A-I-T-H-F-U-L.
Correct! Oh my gospel, you are bright. You're absolutely right. Look at it right there on the screen. That's what you spelled. Faithful. F-A-I-T-H-F-U-L. And you know, when you break it down in syllables, it becomes so much easier to spell, right? Faithful. And you get the word right away. So well done. Don't put down the phone. Have you ever tasted Pediasure?
Pardon me?
Have you ever had a Pediasure?
No.
You are going to taste it now because you've won with Pediasure indeed. It is really delicious. They have vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate. Which is your favorite flavor?
Vanilla.
Oh, okay. The strawberry is not bad either, you know. The strawberry is quite good. Yeah, I sampled it myself.
Strawberry.
Anyway, you stay right there on the phone, okay? Don't put down. We'll take some more information from you. But you are a winner today, and we celebrate you for correctly spelling faithful. Thank you so very much. And thanks to Pediasure. Remember, head to the supermarkets today, and when you do, look for Pediasure. Pediasure for your little ones. It really is good for their bone development, their muscle development, their brain and eye health, and their immune system. Really affordable. And as you would have heard recently, government has reduced the price on that. So it's really a good supplement to give to your children. Tomorrow, another word to spell. Now, we'll take a break. And when we come back, Dr. Birchwood will join us.
That was Spell It, brought to you in association with Pediasure.
Morning, morning, morning.
17 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, as faithful as ever on a Tuesday morning, and we had that word just now, faithful, now you know how to spell it, has been Dr. Birchwood. And for that, I am ever and eternally grateful. Dr. Birchwood, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. Did you enjoy your holiday?
What holiday? I was on jury duty. I started on holiday and I got summoned immediately. So there's, as they say...
Where are you on holiday?
Yeah, maybe that's why they say there's no rest for the wicked.
That tells you something, right?
It really truly does. I really have to get my life in order, but that's all right. So it's good to see you yet again. I know that children are really truly benefiting from all of your work as a pediatrician. It was one of Barbados' best indeed, and we're very proud to claim you as ours. So today we're looking at childhood obesity, and you know, Dr. Williams, head of BAM, she mentioned that today as one of those chronic non-communicable diseases that has flown under the radar as a consequence of COVID, but you two raise it as something we need to pay closer attention to. People look at their child and think, oh, it's just pleasingly plump. Is that all?
You know, in the Caribbean, we are so conditioned to think of plump babies as being better.
Yes.
And the reality is that plump babies become plump children, become plump adolescents, and overweight adults. So we really do need to shift our thinking, because parents will look at a child and say, oh, they're too thin, when they're completely normal weight and everything for their age. So it really is cultural conditioning that we need to change, because it's harmful for our children.
You're right. And part of that cultural conditioning is eat, eat, and eat as much as you want. And that's a condition we need to change.
Absolutely. You know, one of the ways that we show love in the Caribbean is to feed our children. And so we don't like to see the plate with food left on it.
Yes.
And so we'll be at them, finish your plate. The children in Africa are starving. You have to eat everything that you have there. And grandmothers are especially good, sorry grannies, at getting the children to eat too much. And so they really sometimes have a tremendous increase in their weight and a very inappropriate increase in their weight. So we have to be vigilant about children's health, because it is a very major health problem that we are going to see the full effects of over the next 10 to 20 years, because there are so many children in Barbados who are obese. Did you know in the United States, 1 in 5 children is obese? But in Barbados, 1 in 3 children are obese. And we tend to think of the United States as a society of excess, but yet here we are.
My goodness, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. 1 in every 3 children is obese. And we're talking about plump. And sometimes that plumpness can lead to some other things. And we want to really break it down and look at the causes of it, because it's not simply what we eat. It could also be about other things that will cause us obesity to occur. So let's look at some of the causes of obesity, Dr. Birchwood, because yes, we can always say that child eating too much, but it could be something else that's triggering the obesity as well. So can you break down all the causes of obesity as you know it?
Well, genetic factors play a big role in obesity. And so we definitely have a population in the Caribbean as a whole that has a genetic predisposition to obesity. So you will see the parents, the grandparents, the aunties, the uncles, the cousins, all obese. And then we tend to dismiss it as the whole family is just big boned. But you definitely can have the complications of obesity. So there are genetic factors. Of course, there are nutritional factors as well. So overconsumption of calories definitely is a major factor. And then you add to that a reduction in the exercise and the physical activity in children that has been occurring with increasing screen time, and you get that deadly combination. So poor nutrition, lack of physical activity, heritable factors, such as a genetic predisposition to obesity. And occasionally there are medical reasons for a child to be obese that are hormonal, for example, if you have thyroid problems, although that is by far the minority of cases.
So what do you see are some of the complications? Can't breathe, the propensity for non-communicable diseases developing. What are some of the complications that are in the pipeline when they have an obese child?
Yes, and this is something that parents really can't envision in their child's future. And it's very hard to convince parents, this is very real. So the biggest thing we worry about is the onset of non-communicable diseases that we've been talking so much about in Barbados, diabetes and hypertension, to name two of the big ones. Those are very much occurring at an earlier age in children who are obese. We're seeing the type of diabetes that adults get in children as young as 9 and 10 who are obese and who have a family history of obesity. And this is a very serious development. In addition to that, children who are obese, they are much more likely to have psychological concerns. They have poor self-esteem. They're more likely to be bullied and to feel isolated. But there can be other consequences. Heart disease and heart problems, really show up at a much earlier age in children who have obesity. The liver can have quite severe changes called fatty liver disease, which is an inflammatory condition associated with obesity. And there can be problems with fertility and normal development of puberty. Then, of course, you can have joint problems. So they can have hip problems, they can have knee problems, and you can see their joints being deformed as a result of the obesity. So really, there are quite severe consequences of obesity, and we are seeing them in children at an earlier and earlier age, which is actually quite frightening.
That's the word I was just going to use, because I'm thinking that there's a parent home listening where they'll say, oh my gosh, daughter, you're frightening me. So what now do I do? Having been scared out of my wits because my little sweet here is, a little plump. So what do I now do so that I don't have to face all of those things you've just described?
Well, what's very important to know from the beginning is that, first of all, it's preventable. And secondly, it's treatable. So sometimes parents feel it's inevitable. I was overweight, my family is overweight, my child, it's inevitable that they're going to be overweight. And that's definitely, fortunately, not true. So it starts with prevention. So when you go for your regular child health visits, then you will find that the doctor and the nurses, if you go to the clinic as well, will measure your child at regular intervals. And from very early, we can see when they're going off the charts in the wrong direction, when their growth is monitored. So please pay attention to your doctor or your nurse when they say to you, your little one's weight is going up too fast. We need to adjust things. We need to adjust how they're eating before it becomes a problem. Because long before you're overweight, you can see the trend. The second is that when you do see your child, becoming overweight, your doctor has spoken to you, you can start, making sure even now that your child engages in regular physical activity. So those are two things that you can do if your child is already overweight. But there are definitely more things that you can do to prevent the onset of obesity in the first place.
I'm convinced your dogs love this time of day.
I know, right? They love your voice or something.
That's all right. And your dogs didn't say a word while I was away, but I'm back. That's all right. They're excited. That's okay. So here it is now. I have the child, and my child, I'm telling you, does not want to get up and do anything. How do I make this child get up and move?
Well, so to get that child moving, first of all, you have to make it a family habit. You have to be the role model. I remember when I was growing up, both my mom and my dad were always physically active. And so I felt lazy if I wasn't physically active as well, although I wouldn't admit it at the time. It was a natural thing. So being a role model is helpful. It doesn't mean that you have to be slim yourself. You just have to have the commitment to physical activity. Second, don't take no for an answer. They might say they want to stay indoors and play video games. Don't mind them, throw them right outside and they'll find something to do. And children love to move. They'll run around, they'll climb a tree, they'll play with a hula hoop, they'll run up and down, they will find friends. So you don't worry about the grumbling, you throw them right outside for at least an hour a day. And make it fun. So you can get them engaged in all sorts of fun activities, such as, making a little obstacle course, developing races, having them run up and down the stairs while you watch them peacefully from the patio. All these are little ways that you can get them moving. Make it fun and don't take no for an answer.
How do I not cross the line of creating some kind of panic in my child, though? Because if the child keeps hearing, you're too fat, you need to this, you're too fat, you need to that, eventually the child can have body perception issues, could it not? And you don't want now to cross to the other side where you have a mental problem, an emotional problem.
Yes, I'm really glad you brought that up. Because one of the things that parents tend to do is to look at their 5-year-old or their 6-year-old or their 7-year-old and say, you're too fat. Well, how did the child get fat? They didn't feed
Yes.
themselves. So it's really pointless, blaming and shaming them. So really you need to focus talking about not about a particular weight, but focus on talking about a healthy lifestyle, which involves healthy eating and also involves physical activity. And for healthy eating, you need to be able to tell them half your plate must be fruit and vegetables. 1/4 of your plate must be high quality protein, and it doesn't have to be meat. It could be fish or peas or beans. And 1/4 of your plate should be grains. And of course, our little ground provisions. So, knowing the right thing to do, eating the rainbow, eat as many colors as you can, encourage them to try different colors. What colors are we going to eat today of the rainbow? Make it lots of fun. These are all practical ways that you can reduce the issue of obesity, but definitely don't shame your child into somehow feeling it's their fault and responsibility. We need to model these things for our children.
Absolutely. Is there a medical treatment for obesity in terms? I know the conditions as a consequence, but is there some injections of ploops? It will shrink. Is there anything that one can do at that child state that they can ward off? Becoming too big?
Well, we try to stay away from medical as in medicine interventions in children because by far the most effective thing is lifestyle change, and lifestyle change that needs to be permanent. So it can't be just for a week, or we're going to lose weight for a little bit and go back to how we were eating before. It has to be permanent lifestyle change for the entire family. That's by far the most effective thing. Medications are reserved for children typically who have complications such as diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol, where you will need to make sure that you manage those conditions. But other medications we really do try to stay away from, and they're medications that have all sorts of fantastic claims. I would definitely stay clear of those because they can be associated with serious side effects, and they often have undeclared aims to help increase the metabolism. So I would stay away from most medications in the vast majority of children.
Yeah, but above all, read your labels, parents, read your labels, because there's some hidden sugars in there that we need to be paying closer attention to. While the child will love it, and it's easy for you to do, it might not necessarily be the best thing for your child as you battle the obesity condition. Dr. Birchwood? I'm going to give your dogs a chance to rest their lungs and vocal cords.
They're supposed to be quiet as soon as you come off.
But that's all right. But thank you so much as always for joining us on a Tuesday morning. God spare life, we'll catch you again next week, all right?
Thank you so much. Great to see
You're
you.
very welcome. We're welcome indeed. Dr. Gillian Birchwood, our consultant pediatrician, here with us on a Tuesday morning on Morning Barbados. And I hope you've taken very seriously the discussion on childhood obesity. It's a big problem, but it doesn't have to be. There are ways to manage it, but talk to your pediatrician. Talk to your pediatrician, let them guide you through that nutrition plan, and you will see the big difference, and you ward off a lot of those onset of non-communicable diseases as you would have been frightened into hearing. We'll take that break right here. When we come back, the ever-smiling Agent Sharita will join us as we take a look at some of those things that the seller didn't probably tell you as you're purchasing a property. Stay with us. 27 minutes now to the hour of 8 o'clock. We're joined by the ever-smiling Agent Sharita reporting for duty. Good morning to you, Agent Sharita. Look at here.
Good morning, sir. I thought you had left us and emigrated to the Maldives.
Oh, I wish. I would have called you first to make sure that you found me somewhere to stay, wouldn't I? Good to see you yet again.
Yes, likewise.
I've noticed the tresses have grown as well. That's really nice.
You know, us women can grow our hair at will, Kirsten.
I know,
so this is grown overnight.
I know, literally, indeed.
A lot of water was in the atmosphere.
See, there you go. The rains helped a lot. All right. So today we want to look at some situations where, you know, sometimes you want to purchase a property and you're so excited about it, but there's perhaps some things that you overlook because the person who's selling to you deliberately chose not to tell you. Can we look at that for a little bit today?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's look at that.
Yes.
Where do we start?
And I come across a lot of things as an agent, and because of it, I know the types of questions to ask, but sometimes information is still withheld, and I could only work with what I'm given. But ever so often, owners who want to sell a property kind of keep out the fact that, you know, there's also another person who is on that deed with me, and they don't necessarily want to sell it. So every time I connect with an owner, I always ask to see proof of ownership. The deeds would clearly state on that first page that it's owned by John Brown and Sally Sue. So John Brown can't get away with selling it with only his signature on my listing agreement. I have to have both signatures. So vendors, be honest and let me know always when there's someone else involved with you in the ownership of the property. That's number one.
Yeah, I mean, it saves the hassle in the long run anyhow, because you will be found out. You know, the property is not going to transfer without first due diligence. So let's be honest up front. So step number one is to ensure that whose ever names are on that deed, that both of you agree to its sale.
Yes, and I have seen issues such as I had a sale once, all excited about it, and then all of a sudden I heard, oh, my partner, like he had a great partner. You never told me about partner. 5 months of praying and fasting, Pearson, for this sale to go through and this man to arrive and determine that he was on board.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
So.
Yeah. Sorry, that's not good at all. Go ahead.
No. Number two, let me know too if the property isn't yours outright. So it might now have to go through probate. The process where, you know, it's determined whether the will that was written is accurate or not. That could take a long time.
Yes.
So imagine now with, you know, all the delays thanks to COVID, shortness of staff, etc. You don't know when that's going to end. If I put a property on the market and someone wants to buy it now and you casually tell me, oh, it's going through probate. Excuse me, how long might that take?
Yes, you're right. I mean, and there's a thing known as a deed of gift. You know, sometimes people, you too, me too, you know, sometimes people do a deed of gift and you're sitting there thinking, it's mine. I've got the deed of gift, but all of the legal work has not yet necessarily been done to transfer ownership to you. And that too in itself could be a big hiccup as you're seeking to close the deal in transferring the ownership of a property to someone who wants to purchase it from you. So all of those are little things that you need to be ever so mindful of and get behind the finer details. She's going to have a glass of water for us. Don't worry, she's all right. She's going to work that out, you know, and making sure that time doesn't escape you because you really want to move into the property, but that person selling to you has all their ducks in a row.
Yes. And then also going back to with things like inheritances and so forth, deed of gift, etc. Sometimes you might need letters of administration, which give you the permission to sell. So you want to talk to your attorney before you put property on the market if your name isn't clearly on the deeds to ensure whether or not something else has to be done.
You're quite right. Now, also coming with the property are things like taxes. And you know, you don't, see she got it again. And you don't know that until, you know, you're about to head to the door and then whacks, You know, for the sale to be concluded, there are some other costs that could impact on the value of the property. So let's talk about that, because sometimes you didn't even tell me that there were some taxes that were to be paid on that property.
Yes, that is a big one, because at the end of a sale, an attorney wants to make sure before they turn anything over to the buyer that all liens are sorted out, meaning, you know, that there's no excessive water bill hanging around. There's no excessive land tax bill. Someone forgot to tell me once about a $90,000 land tax bill. Arrears. Like, this is kind of urgent. How are we going to pay this down before the closing of the sale?
Yes.
You know? So you need to put those things in place too if you're selling, either a payment plan or discuss it with your attorney. They may be able to sort something out. I don't know, so that some of the monies incoming might go to pay off land taxes. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but those types of things need to be discussed up front so we have a proper game plan.
Should I tell the potential purchaser about a death in the house? Those kinds of morbid stories that they don't want to necessarily hear about. I don't want to tell them, so should I?
Listen, I'm the honest realtor, so I prefer to know things up front. It also even impacts things like showings. I remember going to a property multiple times and it just wasn't feeling right. Every time I opened a door or window, the different bedrooms, etc., I came back outside because they said, this houses have energy, believe it or not. And I kept on saying, this doesn't feel right. Lo and behold, and then of course when I'm showing it, you know, I couldn't show it with gusto because I'm peeping around. Lo and behold, someone then asked me, someone from the neighborhood then asked, oh, you ain't get our house where the man commits suicide in the basement cell yet?
Wow. What a story.
At least tell me these things. Yes. Because even in selling, I like to be honest. I don't want to put somebody in a house and withhold that from them. You know, I prefer to tell them, you know, someone died here in shaky circumstances, but that was a while ago. But at least allow me the opportunity to share that. And know what I'm confronting too when I go to that house on a regular basis to show it.
That's great advice indeed. And then, you know, we tend to want to, and we talked about this some time ago, making sure the property is ready for sale, for market, that kind of thing. We fix up this and we fix up that. And we plaster the crack, thinking they can't see it now. They can't see it now. But that's their problem. But the crack is there. So there's things that are structurally wrong with the property. And should I be honest enough and open enough to say, listen, you know, there's a crack in the roof that tends to appear at a particular time of year, and so on and so forth?
Oh my gosh. When I go to properties, my eyes are looking through like a hawk, okay? So when I see certain things, I'm not a contractor, I'm not a builder, but I will tell you, look, make that disappear. But when I say that, I mean repair it, not hide it with some trowel plastic. Repair it. So there's certain things that I like to ask owners to actually spend their money on. So anything that looks like it was a pest or termite infestation, anything that was water damage or leaked, and anything that is structural, like a crack or whatever, fix it before we even go to market. Because as soon as people come into the house, where are their eyes going to go? And it's going to distract from, you know, embracing the property itself. So yes, you have to be upfront with those things, because come on now, you want to sleep at night. I want to sleep at night. And I believe in being ethical and upright. It will come back and bite you if you don't.
You're quite right. Girl, there are things that I barely afford to hear it for yourself. The horrors in the life of a real estate agent. Agent Sharita. Agent Sharita will be on the scene yet again with us next week, God's Spare Life. But thank you so much, Agent Sharita, for joining us today as always and enlightening us about the things that happen in your trade that we innocently walk into. But knowing that you hold our hand and guide us makes the journey a whole lot more comfortable, knowing that you're looking out for the best interests of us as the potential purchasers of property as well. Agent Sharita can be reached on calling 233-8888, 233-8888. Should I say it again? 233-8888. Or on social, she is Barbados Real Estate 246. Barbados Real Estate 246. Great girl, great girl. Agent Sharita, thank you so much again. Thank you. All the
to see
best.
you.
You too. Thank you so much indeed, Agent Sharita. We'll take a break right here. I'm going to transition because Thorn, he thinks he's going to get the best out of me today, but he's wrong. We're coming right back with him and more in just a moment.
This fitness segment is brought to you with the compliments of Powerade, Feel the Power, and Dasani Water. Connect mind and body.
So we're 15 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. I was so comfortable sitting hiding my big belly, but his voice brought me over here. This is time now for a fitness segment. Thornwood, good morning to you.
Morning
Mr.
to you,
Alchemist, good
Pearson.
morning to you as well.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking.
You look fresh, man. You look rested.
Y'all are really making fun of me. Y'all are really making for a workout.
That's what we hear. That's what we hear.
That's all right.
And this morning we are talking about morning mobility.
Yes. And I told people to need to stretch.
It's important.
It's very important to wake the body up with some stretching.
Yeah, but we were talking about that in conjunction with two things.
What?
Training with injury and your warm-up.
Okay.
All right? So obviously people usually think post a workout, yo, man, I ain't sore enough. I don't feel like I work out hard enough.
No pain,
really,
no
I
gain.
wish we could put this at the top, like you know how he's got like text to speech, yeah. But you feeling pain or feeling sore after your workout does not necessarily equate to you having an efficient, effective, or good workout.
No pain, no gain. That phrase.
That's ingrained in people's brain. That's in context. Use that in context. So there's nothing wrong with trying to push hard and trying to, go the extra mile and trying to, maybe push that extra weight. But training is supposed to be pain-free. Yep, it's supposed to be pain-free.
Pain less. That's what it becomes.
So yes, you will be.
But
yes,
it's supposed to be pain-free. Why is it supposed to be pain-free? Because I'm stretching muscles.
Yes, you're stretching muscles, and you are using muscles, and you are tearing the fibers and stuff like that, so they can get bigger and grow stronger and repair after that. But like I find, especially with my guys, so you might be going through like a squat or something like that, and you call this like bro lifting, and you're coming up from the squat and you feel that little twinge. You tell yourself, nah, my good man. Again, push through it. Push through that there, big man. All those small things. Gone again. Gone again.
Yeah.
Gone again.
Yeah.
3 weeks later,
boom.
Man, I gotta take a little break there, man. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to be a little more on both sides of the spectrum, especially when it comes to your lifting. Be way more cognizant and be way more active when it comes to your warm up and your prep before you lift, before you exercise. So a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned your warm-up needs to be very specific to the exercises you are going to do. So it's okay to start with your jumping jacks if you want to raise your body temperature and stuff like that. But don't let me see you getting ready to do a bench press today and you boy trying to
don't jumping jacks.
You know what I mean? Like you got chest there, you go here like this. No. So very specific, and the importance of the foam roller, child.
Oh,
no,
I
can sense
So
it.
I got a slight different approach. I like to go in soft tissue first. Foam rolling is like self-massage. You encourage blood flow to the muscles, and for me, it's the easiest place to start. It's the easiest way to convince yourself, okay, I am actually ready to exercise, and to touch base and see what's maybe more sore on one side than the other. So like Dawn was saying, making your exercise, your warm-up exercise specific.
Right.
If you're going to squat, a big thing for me is making sure you foam roll your quads. Making sure they're loose, they're supple, because if they're tight, they're pulling on the joints. They're pulling on your hips, is making it harder to sit deep into the squat, and they're pulling on your knees.
See where you get paid when they
and
do
we
that.
know, right, so you got a foam roll, and I want to say it's almost an immediate effect. People are shocked how much tension their body is carrying.
Yes.
And it's kind of like you don't feel it until you look for it.
Right.
So once you search, it's like, wow, I'm carrying a lot of tension in my quads, in my hamstrings, and easing that before you load your body, it makes a world of difference.
So what is this? You said foam
rolling. So a foam roller is about, we should bring one to show you. It's like a foam cylinder.
Okay.
And then you putting your body weight on it, and rolling is what is causing that like self-massage. You can use cricket balls for more of like a precise effect, but anything to encourage blood flow before, and then I would do movement after that, and then squat specific movement, and then load.
So if I did this, when I'm pounding my thigh, would that be a warm? Is that good as a warm up?
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
Hello?
It's better than nothing. You improvise enough for you, but even if you were just to like rub out the quads themselves,
that's still not enough?
The foam roller is best.
Best. And I guarantee you, if you warm up specifically, especially when you foam rolling, increase that blood flow, you will see an improvement in your lifts.
Immediately. Same day.
Same day, same time. Immediately.
So that's one way to avoid the pain.
That's one way to.
But foam roll is kind of painful. So it's like a conundrum in itself. You have to go through the pain to feel less pain. Because I tell people, foam rolling doesn't feel worse than surgery.
Hey.
So true. Depends on the surgery.
So you increase, obviously you're increasing the blood flow, you helping the muscle to be more supple. And that is the same thing as like, that will save you, especially when it comes to injury. So like for me, I had like we're training my tumbling, and I actually hyperextended my right leg. And that day, I went through serious mobility. I had just finished training legs and that kind of stuff. So I did serious mobility. I was super warm. My muscles were super supple. And I can tell you, Pearson, had I not done that mobility and that warm up before, I'd probably be coming in here on crutches today, man.
Ooh.
So like, even when it comes to injury in itself and your recovery, how you treat your body, and all that prep before, it all ties in together.
Makes sense. We're going to take a break right here, folks, and when we come back, these gentlemen are going to be sharing with us some other details about how we can stay fitter and work through the pain here on Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
This fitness segment is brought to you with the compliments of Powerade, Feel the Power, and Dasani Water. Connect mind and body. This fitness segment is brought to you with the compliments of Powerade, Feel the Power, and Dasani Water. Connect mind and body.
And that's what I'm holding right here. This is the Powerade right here. This one is the isotonic sports drink fruit punch flavor. There's several flavors on your supermarket shelves. You can try it today. It really refreshes beautifully. And then you can't beat water, can you? You can't beat Dasani water either. This one returns a lot of the liquids that we would have burnt out while we were working out as well. And it helps with the whole blood flow, blah, 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 consumption. You all know. You all know. You guys know this, right?
Ask and you shall receive. Big up to Brown in the back.
Yes.
Big Brown. When you put it in your mind, you know it's manifest, you know what I mean? So that's exactly
you
what
manifested a foam roller.
So this is the foam roller.
Yes, please.
It's actually hard.
Yes. I can give you a quick demo. I like to quads is normally the part that is tight on most people, and then training for legs, you want that to be the most supple, like Dawn was saying. So real quick, I would lay it on the floor, put it in the crease of my hip, raise my other knee up, extend my arms, and it's real easy from here. I go between hip and knee, up and down.
So that's how I see it's going as well. You can get some of his hip flexor in there. And I find that that's something that people kind of fail to warm up with their squats, especially if you go in deeper, because it becomes more of a quad dominant squat, so you get more hip flexors and stuff like that involved to drive and come out. I'm usually, my posterior chain is a bit tighter, so that's like my hamstring, my glutes and stuff like that. So I usually start with rolling up my glutes and that kind of stuff. So if I do put it on the floor, this one is super simple. So I go here, especially like my calves, I get some weight on it, and I roll up from here like that. So you don't have to put like a super large amount of weight on it. The last one I usually do for my lower back, I try not to lay down on the foam roller, because I don't want my back arched up in the air like that. So usually, and that's just my personal preference. If I'm going to roll up my back, I usually have it on a wall. So I'd have it on the wall behind me like that, and I go
Just
and like
up and down.
Exactly, that chair position, rolling up and down.
I'd have to roll my whole body.
So you can find these. You can usually find these in most sporting stores. I've seen them in Costulas. I've seen them in Price Mart. Actually, I went to get one from Costulas and then I had none. So
stop selling, stop
sorry. But I'm just you can find these just about anywhere. Just get one. Make sure you get it before for your training, for your warm up. Get super involved in your warm up, guys. It is very, very important to the longevity of your training. You know what I mean? We won't be doing this well until 120. Keep telling people we want to live to 150 years old.
So as much as I would want to invest in weights, also invest in one of these.
Start here. Definitely.
Start there.
Start here first.
That's going to do you more good. Because when you age, we're not so focused on aesthetics. We want to be able to move well. This is what's going to guarantee that.
Oh. Yeah. So at my old age, because I'm much older than both of you, you know.
You're not stepping in the golden years.
Right. Well, you can start now.
So this is something I should really have.
Yeah.
And a cricket ball as well for more like smaller areas.
Yeah. Definitely.
For like in the small of the back, that kind of.
Because this is a bit broad, it's harder to get those nooks and crannies. So those two, and you're set.
So this is a must-have, folks, in your home. It's called the rubber
foam roller.
It's called a foam roller.
You get one, and you know, muscle out. Just work out those muscles, those little areas, and
look for the tension.
We're talking mobility here, by the way.
Mobility. Speaking of mobility, gymnastics has a big part of mobility. All right, we're gonna jump real quick. I'm super excited about the kids. We're resuming our term this Saturday, the Cali kids. So we can jump real quick to a video to show. This is Kalia and her. I just gotta let you guys see it, man. These kids are excited and they're just constantly making improvements, and I'm just happy to see it.
This is a girl or boy?
This is a girl.
Doing gymnastics.
I'm on top of the world.
I could
get it.
You sure?
With the cape.
We have our teens and we have adults now, Pearson.
Everybody can get it.
Like me?
Yeah, like you.
So where does all that happen?
This happens at Lime Grove Level Up Barbados. So from 4 to 5 is our adult class. So I try to tell the adults, do not be afraid of the acro class.
Yeah.
It is good for mobility. We're coming in there, we're stretching. We're helping you to revisit movement. We're helping you to learn strength in proportion to your body weight. So if you kind of, especially for those who are kind of like, a little standoffish when it comes to the weight, this is the perfect class for you, because you can get some of that calisthenics base.
Some movement in that class?
Definitely.
I got movement class on Sundays, guys. Let me plug myself real quick. Sundays, 5:30 up in Coverley. Hit me up on Instagram, avatar_alchemist. And let's get you moving and feeling better.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
I like the trampoline thing though.
Really, trampoline, that's your favorite part.
What? That's it? You jump and as you jump, you can flip. and you know,
Front
land on your
test.
feet.
Yeah,
You land on your butt first, but you land on your feet eventually.
Exactly. So usually I like to tell people that there's a learning curve for acro or gymnastics. So usually people see that and they go, oh no, well I can't do that. Well, my motto for class is if you cannot do it on the floor, you cannot do it in the air. All right, so you start with forward rolls, backwards rolls, side rolls, handstands, basic conditioning. There's a bunch of stuff that you have to do before you get to that that we just saw.
Really?
All right, yep.
Hire a coach.
And last but not least, we are introducing for this term kids boxing, guys, 10 to 15 years old.
That's fun.
So if you're simply ready to come through,
that's fun.
And get your boom boom boom,
knock
boom.
you out.
Yeah, you could try. I don't know how that's gonna go for you, bro. Right? We're introducing kids boxing. He was here before. He's a former national boxer. Compliments Zen Life, fitness, and like guys, he's just one of the best of the best. To be quite honest. All right.
This is great.
All of that's done at Level Up Barbados. Status from 11 to 12.
All right. Enough to talk about. No. So, again, Califit246 on Instagram.
Yep, definitely.
And Mr. Alchemist, yours is?
Avatar Alchemist. AVATAR_ALKEMIST. Boom.
Great. Simple Simon made the payment. Contact these guys. Let's get fit again. So thank you, gentlemen. Next week, Tuesday. We have to get this foam roller and have it as a part of your essential equipment in your home. And get your Powerade. Your Dasani water, you're going to be feeling a whole lot better for it. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. To the crew, to all of you, have a terrific Tuesday. Be it God's will, we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.